Okay, so we've already talked about the program monitor, and as I said in a previous video, the source monitor is very similar in a lot of respects, but just works a little bit differently, handles different things than the program monitor. So let's go ahead and jump in and see how it's similar, how it's different. So once again, we are in the editing workspace. If you're not seeing what I'm seeing, just reset to save layout. And your source monitor is in the top left of your Adobe Premiere editing layout or workspace layout. Once again, you have your main viewer, you have your zoom scroll bar, you have your time ruler, playheads, you have your resolution settings, as well as your button editor. All of these very, very similar to what you saw in the program monitor. Similarly, you have your playhead position. So as we move the playhead, the time here will change to show you where you would be on a particular clip, as well as your total in and out duration. This means what you have selected will be right there. Okay? So in a clip where I have something selected, this will show me that I have 4 seconds and 23 frames selected here. If I expand the selection, now I have 8 seconds and 28 frames, or 21 frames. So this gives me an idea of how much I have selected at any given time. Let's go ahead and talk about the differences that you're going to see within the source monitor. Now, the source monitor's job is to allow you to isolate an individual clip or piece of video, and then to be able to work with it, do some editing, do some changes, corrections even. So we want to make sure that we understand that in the program monitor you are going to be seeing your whole sequence as it would appear in its final version. Source monitor, we're generally looking at individual clips, and this will allow us to do some work with those individual clips. So let's go ahead and see what we're dealing with here. In the source monitor, we'll see up here at the top source and then the clip that we have selected. So right now I have clip 12 selected. Scrolling down, clip 12 is right here, and clip 12 is what is currently in my source monitor. If I change to clip 4, now I see source clip 4, or clip 8, source clip 8. Any clip that I double click on in the program panel, or project panel rather, then would appear in our source monitor. Similarly, any clip that I double click on in the timeline will appear in our source monitor as well. I'm going to click on clip 12 to isolate it. Now, again, if I have a selection that I've done by marking in and marking out, I and O, we'll talk about using this technique in a later video. This will appear here as a space that's bracketed with 2 blue markers with a light gray space in between. Okay, that's going to appear in our source monitor. We also have the ability or have these 2 icons right here: drag video only, drag audio only. Now what this means is that when we are working with an individual clip, we have the ability to bring both the audio and the video into a timeline together, so they're synced up and they're going to move everywhere as one. We also have the ability to bring just the video or just the audio into our timeline. So for example, if there is video that has just really bad audio, we don't want to mess with the audio, we can bring the video by itself in. If we have audio of, say, environmental sound, where perhaps we were just catching the environment to use as background, we can bring the audio in and layer it without necessarily having to worry about bringing the video in. It's a way of keeping things from getting convoluted. We'll talk about how that works later on, but generally speaking, it would be if we wanted to bring both the video and audio into a clip, we would grab in the middle of our source monitor and drag to the timeline. And you'll see that now I have video and audio moving around on my timeline. If I wanted to bring video, I would just simply grab video, and now you'll see that I have video moving around, but I have no audio component associated with it. Similarly, if I bring audio only, now I have audio moving around. It's in the lower area, but I have no video component moving around. So I'll talk about how this actually works in a later video about editing, but I wanted to draw your attention to those three areas. The middle of the source monitor is where you would grab if you want to bring both video and audio, and then you have the opportunity to select one or the other and bring it into your timeline if you wish. In addition to that, you have several different tabbed folders or panels that actually give you some great tools that you'll use as well. I just want to call your attention to these. So, source monitor is the first one that is the first monitor that you'll see. But you also have effects controls. So, for example, if I bring up effects controls, and we're going to do this, actually, let me bring up one we're already using. Here's effects controls on a clip that's in our timeline. So there it is in our timeline. I've double clicked it to bring it into our source monitor, and now I have the ability to do a variety of things with it in our effects controls panel, like scale it up and down, reposition it on the screen, even adjust the opacity. So, oh, wrong button. Adjust the opacity. So fade it in, fade it out. All of that all of those are things that can be done through our effects controls. We also have an audio clip mixer. So for example, if we're working with audio, we could select multiple audio, and any audio that we see, for example audio 1 track and audio 2 track, we can see the levels that we're going to be dealing with here. So I've got natural sound in audio 1, and I've got voiceover in audio 2, which is why you'll see that the voiceover in audio 2 is a little bit higher than the voiceover or than the sound in audio 1. And then metadata. This is just individual information that's associated with these clips. So frames per second, times, durations, all that good stuff that you might want to look at some point in the future. All of these things are located in the source monitor panel, just in different tabs in the source monitor panel. They can all be used in a variety of ways, but they all generally are used on individual clips to help you monitor, edit, tweak, clean up, or generally work with individual clips. So that's the source monitor. In future videos, we're going to talk about how to use the source monitor and the timeline together to do some editing. But at this point, we're just going to transition to the next video where we're going to talk about the timeline. I'll see you there. Bye.